we're going to be seeing here first?
Yeah, so the way our weeks work, what I like to do, especially on match day and match day plus one, is really use that for our number 2, number 3, and number 4 and get some individual work in. So our IDP days tend to be fairly technical because I think it's good repetition, and I think it allows us to be able to really focus in on something where during the week it can be difficult to do that.
Yeah.
And I think and I always tell our goalkeepers, we are not going to train after the game, because I've probably walked through every pass of the ball, and mentally I'm not in a good place to train. So what I like to do with our goalkeepers is, if we play at 7:00 that night, we'll come in at 10, and it'll be our 2, 3, and 4, and it'll be a 30-minute session. Not a lot of hitting the ground, but a lot of good reps, a lot of good pictures, and allow us to really kind of hone in on a couple things. And then match day plus one is another one where, again, we can really focus in on the individual pieces, and the tempo may be able to be a little bit higher there, because obviously we don't have a game that day, and where we can get a lot of work done. So that's where I really focus on the growth and development from an IDP perspective of our 2, 3, and 4 goalkeepers.
As we switched out right there, which I think we're going to the next thing right here. Serge, one thing I wanted to say about that before we kind of move on to these next pictures right there is, I've seen that in regards to coaches having players train after matches. And I've seen this at the youth level where they've done that. And I've also seen it where parents sign up their kids to train with private coaches after their game earlier that morning. And I always tell them, I am not going to do that. I'm not going to train your kid, because they've already been through so much mentally. The last thing they need is to get back in an environment where they're nitpicking and thinking about every decision they made in the game earlier that morning.
Absolutely. And I think this is, Katie, our number 1, is not involved in any of these sessions. These are strictly, and even with our number 2, I'm very conscious, if whoever's going to be on the bench that night, of like making sure there's a minimal amount of hitting the ground. But for me, it's important in their development, because if they don't train, then that's a whole nother day off. And I don't think it does them it does them a huge disservice. And I think part of my job is to make sure that they develop. So, I think using more of a technical perspective with the IDP sessions, for me, I think we can get a lot accomplished in a really short amount of time, which is important. So quality over quantity. And that way, after the game, if they do some running with the team or anything like that, I'm more than fine with. But I think for us to be able to have that time to focus is great. And the match day plus one, that's, again, where I can really delve into some things from an IDP perspective and give them even more individual attention, to make sure that I'm helping develop the areas that they're focusing on. So the session you saw before we went to this one was just a simple crossing one, just working on timing, working on positioning and seeing the ball. The one we're watching right now was focusing on diving and their step and push, especially for Liv. That was something we really worked on. There were times where she kind of comes up to go down, so she wasn't able to get the drive and the push. So we really broke it down and allowed her to really get a good feel for that. For me, it's just that little lateral kind of shift and push. So in here you see it just touch the ball, step and drive. So she can really work on the push, and we're going with 2 hands. I think that's something, especially for younger goalkeepers, the more you can always extend one hand farther than the other. And I think you see too many goalkeepers go with one hand. So we worked a lot this year on hands as a pair. And we were able to really put a good emphasis on that in some of these IDP sessions, and see kind of, they're very simple, but I think the goalkeepers can feel and see the difference as we've gone through the session. And at the end, there's that confidence piece. We always end with something that's a little bit more live, but in the beginning pieces, it's very announced, and that's intentional, because I really want them to think about the pieces and the layers that go with this. And this one in particular, it's about hands working together that touch the ball, get them moving and drive, and really work on that little step and shift. And that's why, again, the camera's positioned where it is, because I want them to be able to see all the mechanics that go with it and feel comfortable with the mechanics as they go through it.
I want to bring this up real quick, Susk. One of the things that, and first off, I mean, I don't know if you notice it as well too at the youth level. I don't understand why kids won't shoot both hands. Like I don't know if it's a timing thing, if it's just from a subconscious standpoint. Well, the hand that's closest to the ball is the one that's going to get it. Like what do you think it is exactly?
I think it's a mental imagery thing. I think they see this outreach, and it's teaching. It comes down to teaching. It drives me crazy. You can always shoot the one hand after the two hands go to the ball. First of all, when I break it down to goalkeepers, I'm like, go with one hand. That hand that's lagging is like an anchor, right? You have to use all the momentum you can. You want to catch through a ball, right? So if you take both hands, that energy that comes to your whole body and everything, now you're just getting that much more power and everything going through the ball. Now, at the end of it, if you have to shoot the hand to reach further to tip, that's fine. But now look at what you can catch and look at what you can hold on to if you go with two hands. Like you're not giving up rebounds. You're not giving up corner kicks. It might have looked pretty, but I know as a goalkeeper, had you gone with two hands, and as a coach, you probably would have held that ball, and it's coaching and teaching. And you have kids with bad habits, change the habits, coaches out there. That's literally your job.
Yeah. And you can control rebounds better. And I think that's a huge thing.
Oh, absolutely.
Sometimes we'll put little gates out on the corners of the sticks and call it like a parry zone, because if they're not going to hold it, they've got to push it away. And I think that's one thing that Katie has really, if you watch a lot of the saves that she makes, especially ones where she's had to parry, she parries them into good, safe areas. Very rarely do you find a second that she has to make a second save because she spilled it into a bad spot. And I think that's one of the things that Liv really improved on as well, was to be able to control that parry and put it somewhere where, one, I can see the rebound, so then now I can reposition well, but two, I've steered it into an area where it makes my life a lot easier, and I haven't spilled it into the middle where now it's open season on the ball. But also at the same time, I'm not just giving away a corner to give away a corner, because I've pushed it and I've gone beyond it. So I think, go with two hands really allows you to do it. You said, Saskia, especially if you can hold it. But also, if it's at a pace where you can't, now I can steer it into an area where it's way more controlled, and I can deal with the rebound.
Mike, I also think if you really you have to see where the young goalkeepers' hand positionings are starting. Like, where are you starting, right? If your hands aren't in the proper position, if they're too wide, if they're dropped, you get those young goalkeepers with their hands like low drop. Now you've got to take that one hand and bring it all the way across your body to try to get that ball. And so hand positioning and that start position is important. So now it's like tying a string in between your wrists and together. And so you move them together, then you shoot the hand.
Yeah. I want to throw this question up here.
We're just getting into a coaching session.
No, I know. And that's why we're going to get back on. That's why we're going to slightly get back on the topic right here, because we have a question from Bill Reno. And he goes, "Hey, Sergio, love the core you've built out there. Can you talk about tangible goals for goalkeepers who are still years away from being a true starter? How do you keep them hungry when minutes may be sparse?" It's a great question.
That's a really good question. And I honestly think it's the IDP. It's, can you see how you're getting better and setting targets? So if I take Hillary and Jordan, for instance, I think they're really good examples. Our goal was to prepare them to be successful in Australia. So our whole goal, especially towards the middle of the season on, when we knew they were going out on loan, was to make sure they were ready when they got to Australia. Jordan had a really good spell with Western Sydney. Did really well, made some big saves, came back in a really good place before she got injured. Hillary was goalkeeper of the year for Western and lost in the final. So I think it's a really good question.
Hey guys, can you hear me?
Most definitely.
Oh, look at you, dude. Look at that lighting you got. How professional. It's almost as if it's
got to take a few years and a few wrinkles off. So,
Sus, can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. Lovely, 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 lovely. Is that you got cleaning gear behind you, Christian? What's going on there?
I have glove wash and response ball and a couple other things. Depending on where I need to be, I got everything within
Nice.
arm's length.
I love it, man. All right. All right. Let's get this going. Here we go. Happy Thanksgiving, everyone, and welcome to Inside the 18. I'm Michael Magid, live from West Hollywood, California. With me in Woodland Hills, California, the one and only 99 World Cup winner, Saskia Weber. And joining us through the magic of the interweb, the one and only Keeperstop himself, Christian Benjamin, over in Connecticut. What's up, dude?
How are you? Thanks for having me.
Hey, are you supposed to get some? Is it cold there?
It could be 80 degrees or 8 in a matter of a 24-hour period. You got to have a Hawaiian shirt and a winter hat at every given moment to be ready for anything.
Yeah, I
man.
was like, wait a minute, is it cold and or you're supposed to get a storm and then it's supposed to be cold?
The land of layers.
Yes, the land of layers.
Sorry, so this is the time of the year that you would just have to like go out. You've got literally like a flannel on and then like a big jacket in the car, basically, right? And you just have to run it out at any moment and go grab that while you're on the field.
Honestly, whatever Mother Nature gives me, I'm going to appreciate because, January, February could be 0 with 30-mile wind gusts. So, if we
That's
can
true.
get out and train in, 30-degree weather, as long as I don't crystallize somebody's lungs, we're going to be out there training. So
Nice.
Well, speaking of training, Christian, I mean, for a lot of people out there who don't know, obviously they know about Keeperstop and all the wonderful, contributions you make to the goalkeeping community, not just in regards to like equipment, but also like in content and all that sort of thing. But you're a coach yourself. Why don't you talk a little bit about that before we kind of get into it?
yeah, I mean, I love goalkeeping. It runs through my veins. That's what I'm passionate about. So, when I first graduated college, I mean, even before that, I started as like a goalkeeper coach. I never had a goalkeeper coach growing up. I mean, we're talking about late 80s and 90s. So I learned to position myself. I was a baseball player beforehand. I wanted to be the best. I fell in love as soon as I put my Tony Miolas on, my Royce Tony Miolas, and I was never looking back. For those that remember those. And I pride myself on making the goalkeeping experience on and off the field better. Any way I can. I try to be the best coach, staying up on the most advanced coaching techniques, motivational techniques, mental performance, what have you. And I mean, Keeperstop trains hundreds of goalkeepers on a yearly basis out of Connecticut, whether it be small group training sessions or we work a lot with youth players, because I think for whatever reason grassroots goalkeeping has been pushed aside. So we try to make sure we're identifying and training the next generation of goalkeepers. So we do have high school goalkeepers and college goalkeepers. And, if everything goes right, you have a pro goalkeeper. It comes out of that.
I mean, I think, one of the things, Susk, in regards to that, I think, a lot of the times out there, there's people out there who, own soccer stores. And a lot of the times, like if you're a parent, you come up to them and say, hey, what's the best type of thing, for my goalkeeper or whatever. And they're not goalkeepers. So they're kind of just like, I don't know, go to that rack over there. Like there's a bunch, we have Adidas and Nike and all sorts of big brands and stuff like that. But, obviously how important it is when people come up to you that there's people that understand equipment that actually understand goalkeeping too.
Yeah.
No,
I mean, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I didn't know who he was asking the question to.
I was talking to you, just us. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, but obviously, if you're a store owner, I would hope that you have a staff that knows what they're talking about, especially when it's something specific. Like, it's one thing if you have like a clothing line store, but when you're selling shoes, cleats, gloves, shin guard, there's equipment involved here. So it's very important that your staff would know what they're doing. I worked in a store when I was in high school. I loved selling. I absolutely. World Cup in the mall, Quaker Bridge Mall back in New Jersey. I worked at World Cup.
Love it.
Wait, the place was called World Cup?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I can't believe I just remembered that name. Yeah, and like I knew my boots, I knew my gear, like I knew it, like I knew what I was talking about. I was just a teenager.
And that is one of the interesting things, Christian, because obviously as yourself, as you got involved in equipment and everything like that, was it at first that you were like, okay, I know what I like. And then as you started getting a little bit more experience, you started recognizing you need to recognize what might be best for other people, maybe not necessarily just for you.
So I pride myself, or Keeperstop prides itself on trying to find the best goalkeeper equipment that fits every budget and
Mhm.
playing need. I didn't grow up in a wealthy family, so I always keep budget as a first and primary concern, coupled with performance. So, I mean, we try everything on. We like to touch and feel most everything, and that's what gets put on the website. I mean, we've been contacted by other much larger goalkeeper or soccer websites, and they're saying, "Hey, we'd like you to join us, partner, be a part of our team." Like, why do you only carry 200 SKUs or whatever it is, or only 20 pairs of Royce goalkeeper gloves or X number? And it's because we pick them based on price, quality, performance. It's got to hit a certain criteria.
Right.
And that's how we do it because, again, at the end of the day, I'm the owner of Keeperstop, but I take every purchase personally. I'm a goalkeeper, and I want to go to a tournament and somebody recognize me, and I want them to be like, "Hey, thank you," as opposed to "burn him," like
Yeah.
he's a win, you know.
Well,
He sold us the most expensive gloves possible for an 8-year-old to practice in on concrete.
I try to be objective. People ask me questions like, what's the best goalkeeper glove, or what budget should I be spending, and I lay it all out. And some days my wife wishes I was a little bit more of a true salesman, and like, more money, and I'm like, no, it's not about that. For me, it's the goalkeeping experience, again, on and off the field, because
Mhm.
at the end of the day, I am a goalkeeper. I happen to own Keeperstop, but I'm a goalkeeper, 49-year-old goalkeeper that still plays, that loves the position, loves training. My home is in a 18-yard boxer on a soccer field. So
it's interesting you said that, Christian, because Saskia, I'm just thinking about, like, from a coaching standpoint, right? Just how many young coaches out there, it's quantity over quality, because they think, oh, I need to build my business, so they try to put together as many kids in a session as possible, and then they actually start developing a kind of a reputation of like, oh well, it's just kind of a workout kind of babysitting service, and my kid's not really improving.
Right, but it's going back to the retail side. And you're also educating the people out there. So in the beginning you said, like, you have parents that come in and they're trying to buy something. You don't know anything about goalkeeping. You have kids that come in and they just see a pair of gloves on their favorite player and that's what they want. And there has to be a certain amount of education. Okay, what are you using them for? Like, what kind of glove, what kind of feel, like how often is he playing or she playing, and everything, and to be able to be invested. And like you said, Chris, like, you take every sale personally, because you're invested in it, and as you should be. Like, it's not just a quick fix. Like we can go back to the story I said about UCLA when they just like blankly ordered gloves for the season. Like, okay, this color matches the uniform, and I'm like, keepers can't use those. Like, we have to sit down, and get the right equipment and talk about it.
Yeah, I love that one. I love that one. Especially when you're talking about like high schools, Christian, where it's like they get the gear for the team and they've got the team deals or whatever, and it's almost like the goalkeeping equipment is kind of thrown in last minute. They're like, this is just part of the kit right there, and it's really not taking into consideration the young goalkeepers at all.
if at all, at 49, I still play for an Irish team, and of course they ordered 5 teams new kits. Did the goalkeeper get a kit? No. Thankfully, I own Keeperstop, so I'm like, I got you. I got the gloves. I got the kit. Don't worry about it. So
It's so true that they don't. Do the goalkeepers get like a practice jersey? No, they can just train in their game jersey. And I'm like, but the field players got like practice jerseys and like multiple colors.
that's
And
why we're all here, right? It's like
yeah,
we help
exactly.
represent and educate the goalkeeper community. So
I remember my men's league team recently got new kits, and they literally, I get the new jersey with my number on it and the gloves, and I'm just like, are you guys getting a different goalkeeper? Because this is an XL, and these gloves are like a size 11. What did you guys do in the off season that you didn't tell me about? Because this is clearly not going to work for me at all. And as we kind of get into the topic, which is the holiday gift guide for 2023, Christian, I do kind of want to bring up that thing is that there is a personalization from a goalkeeping size standpoint. Like some goalkeepers like a little bit more space in their gloves, and some don't. And a lot of parents, like they just go, well, my kid's growing, so I'm just going to get them a glove that they're going to be able to fit into. And then other people are like, oh, well, I want to make sure that it's nice and snug. It's got to be like right on the fingertips or whatever. And then the kid goes, yeah, I don't really like that.
Or the parent buys a glove that the kid will grow into.
Yeah. Oh, I love the growing into. Yeah.
That's my favorite. I'm like,
but that's really fascinating. So let's kind of get into today's topic, guys. And today's topic is this holiday gift guide 23. But before we kind of do that, Christian, why don't you just kind of talk from a kind of like a general standpoint, like why is this time? Obviously, it's a big gift giving time right now, but why is it also an important time for young goalkeepers to kind of redo their equipment coming into this new season, as you were talking about the climate?
I like to think this time is like the time for goalkeepers to involve everybody else in their goalkeeper experience. The one that would buy my goalkeeper gear when I was younger was my grandmother, actually. So as I said before, your mom and dad are doing what they can to put food on the table, and you may have a pair of gloves for the season, but now it's like, all right, what worked well this season, and what do I need going forward? So it's that time period where grandma, grandpa, aunts, uncles, maybe some like a mentor of yours or a coach can be a part of that goalkeeper buying experience. So for me, it's more inclusive. I mean, summertime, you see, hey, I need something for tryouts or for this season, but now it's everybody. It's like, this is what I need. This is what I need from a training perspective that will last me the year, such as like sterility equipment or a full kit, what have you. So.
It's interesting, Saskia, that Christian says that, because I never even thought about that. Obviously we just recently did a parents town hall on the Union, and shout out to all the parents that showed up for the parents town hall in regards to understanding how to be a goalkeeper parent, not about the X's and O's of goalkeeper education, but about understanding how to parent a goalkeeper. And one of those things is that process of being involved in the purchasing. Obviously, the parents are the ones that have the purchasing power when you're a young player, and so they really need to have an understanding of what they're buying, right?
No, absolutely. And what like I said, what the equipment's used for, and you just can keep using the example of your kid is going to want that glove that they're seeing on their favorite player that might not be. And maybe that is the glove you get for them for games, but if depending on your budget, but it might not be what's proper for them in practice, and to have that education and understand why you're buying what you're buying.
Yeah. And by the way, Christian, feel free to step in anytime. You don't need to wait for me to ask you a question or anything. But kind of getting to what Saskia was saying right there, like, let's kind of talk about like what are kind of the essentials for stuff, because maybe there's some young parents, listening right now whose goalkeepers are just beginning their journey and they don't know what their goalkeeper needs from the get-go. They go into the store and the clerk says, oh, well, this is goalkeeper equipment over here. And they're like, great, we're going to get knee pads, elbow pads, a helmet, rollerblades. They don't know what to get exactly.
I mean, that's why I started Keeperstop, now close to 20 years ago, is to provide that level of service. It is a very personal choice. So the first thing I'd like to say to any new goalkeeper or family to goalkeeping is, what do they have what do they need that fits the family budget? And first and foremost is obviously goalkeeper gloves. So the exercise that I like to go through, that I've done a lot of times, is how to select a goalkeeper glove, right? I mean, that's one of the most important things they're going to go through, because there's a few misconceptions. They feel that, and this is an amazing glove. We were talking about a Royce finger protection glove, and they feel, oh, this is a $200 glove. It's going to last me the half-life of iron, and I'm going to have, a grip like flypaper or Superman. So with that, it's important to understand what you get. And the way that I like to tell new parents is the better the grip, the worse the durability. The better the durability, the worse the grip. And there's no way around that. So I think the first most important question to answer with any new goalkeeper or goalkeeping family is, what can the family budget afford in a goalkeeper goal? They're perishables. It's like a car,
Yeah.
it gets you from point A to point B. It's just the matter of comfort, or the stitching in the seat is going to be different, or, the stereo system will be different. The same in goalkeeper gloves. So pick a glove that meets the family budget based on what you can afford.
I love what you
and
just said
I
right
mean,
there.
I remember having to explain that as well, having to buy multiple pairs. Like, I'm like, I need a budget, like, in college, I need a budget for this, and I got to get them through the season. And, they're going to rotate their gloves down, or we have a practice glove and then you have a game glove, or they'll rotate their game gloves into their practice gloves, grab themselves a new pair of game gloves. But you can't just hand a goalkeeper one pair of gloves.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. And go ahead, Christian.
I just example right here, we have close to $200 Royce game glove. So that's the first question, is budget. What's my budget? And then I have a glove that's on sale at the moment, a $50 goalkeeper glove with finger protection as well. This is suitable for like junior goalkeepers, maybe Sunday league goalkeepers, or high school practice. So determine where you need. Are you an ECNL starting goalkeeper with, entering a college showcase and want the best of the best in finger protection? So budget first, finger protection second. And then, to Saskia's point, knowing the different cuts is, what do I choose? Do you need something that's a little bit more minimalist, a negative cut? This is actually Matt Turner's glove, but this is a more minimalist glove by one of the fastest goalkeeper glove companies in the world at the moment, West Coast. So there's a lot of variation. So you pick a glove that fits your hand better. I mean, I'm 5'10" and change and 200 pounds. I can't be in super tight gloves because, it's trying to pull on, sausage, onto, like a gardening glove. You know what I mean? So I gotta find a glove that fits my playing as well as my body style.
Christian brought up a point in regards to like the budget of the family, because, obviously this is something that comes into play. It's like, okay, if you spend $200 on a glove, well, there's not a lot left in the budget for other types of equipment or training or anything like that.
Well, I think it's also part of that education for the family, for the parents, or for whoever's buying the glove. You want to make your kid happy, right? So the kids at Christmas and stuff, like, I want the $200 Royce glove, right? Now, a lot of parents might look at the kids and say, okay, well, that's your gloves for the year. With a budget, that's an answer. Okay, well, that's the gloves for the year. No more gloves until next year or next season. Well, that glove's not going to last. And it's hard to say no to your kids, but if you have knowledge, or if you get on the phone and talk to Chris about it and stuff like that, you can at least explain to your kid why it might not be the best glove at the moment for them, or you could say, we can keep updating your gloves throughout the season every so many months. If you get this one, it's a similar style, it's a cheaper price, it's more in the budget, and now we can go back in 3 months and get you another pair, in 2 months another pair, and so on and so forth.
Yeah, and I want to talk about that, Christian, obviously in regards to like what Saskia was saying with the budget there too, because I think a lot of the times, parents out there, outside of just the budgetary concerns, is they also I don't know why did they say they just go with gimmicks, but like somebody sees like something really cool from a toy standpoint, like this rebounder or whatever, and they go, oh, my kid needs that $400 rebounder, and we're going to take that home, and then they use that twice, and they're like, well, that was kind of a waste of my money.
Yeah, I mean, go back to your earlier question. What does a goalkeeper need? Regardless of level, you need goalkeeper gloves. You need training equipment to protect your body, during training or for games against turf, what have you, the pounding. So gloves, protective equipment. and then, you know, a bag of balls. Everything else is nice to haves. So the family budget is the nice way to go and the nice way to start, and then we can build from there based on need. You know, I'm a high level goalkeeper. I want this grip. I need finger protection. What are my options? And that's what we're good at, right? Is that we can find where need meets budget, so that you find something that truly is representative of the goalkeeper. Because here's something that never changes. You know, death and taxes, but in goalkeeping terms, is gloves are perishables. No matter what you do to it, from the first catch to the last catch, they're going to they're going to break down. So find something that meets your family budget. You know, they're gonna break during training with every catch, even if you have perfect technique. They're gonna break every time you put your hand down to stop your momentum, maybe the shift weight or to stop yourself from diving so you can make a second save, as well as to get up. And then thirdly, care. You have to care for these gloves.
Yeah.
So those are the things that are battling against you. There's sweat and bacteria and abrasion that breaks down the glove regardless. So, you know, you gotta find one that meets you.
I like this comment.
Yeah, I was just going to throw it up there right now for those of you guys who can't see this right now. If you're just listening to the audio, Haven Hall Milliner, and shout out to you. By the way, please let us know where you're watching the show from, and also if you're a union member, if you're in the goalkeeping parent community. She says, I would love to see soccer clubs give keepers some sort of gift card / money to help offset the cost. My son is the only goalkeeper on his team, and we spend a lot of money on gloves! ! And he will only wear the one gloves! !
You know, and I agree with this, and here's why. Because if you're saying, okay, for a field player, all you need is your cleats, your shin guards, we got the rest. We have the balls, we have the cones, we have the fields, we got the rest. We got you covered, right? But hey, little Johnny, or hey, little Sue, we want you to play goal. You're going to play in goal. You like playing goal, you're our goalkeeper. But you need some gloves. You need to protect your body. You know, there are other things the goalkeeper needs, but, you know, so if we want you to be our goalkeeper, we have to, I think every club should have to help the keepers with that. You know, because it is a cost. You are running through a budget with it. Not all families can afford it. And, you know, it's almost like take an ice hockey goalie. It's the most expensive goalkeeper equipment, I think, in any sport to own. I don't know, but I would hope that if you start training somebody on your ice hockey team as a goalkeeper, that the team is giving them some equipment. Because it's like, I've heard it's ridiculously expensive. But I agree with that. And I think it's a great idea. I think clubs should have a little allocation for the goalkeepers.
Christian, any thoughts on that? I know you're slightly opinionated.
Yeah, I mean, obviously our biggest customer base is the customer, the mom and dad, the family, the goalkeeper that needs something. That's our biggest customer base. But we're starting to see more that clubs do buy their goalkeepers, you know, at least a practice pair of gloves. We're getting more college orders to say that, hey, you know, we have $1,000. We need 8 pairs of gloves. So we're happy to give bulk discounts. I mean, I have, you know, a cost that keeps my lights on and keeps my employees paid and them in their homes. But I try to work with every club, every goalkeeper as much as we can. I mean, we're 10% below MSRP just to compete with the biggest players. But then we offer free shipping, above 50, 5% back on loyalty programs, so you can use it for future purchases, as well as we are the goalkeeper glove experts. There's nobody in the U.S. There's maybe one other person that knows more about goalkeeper gloves across the board than I do. And so I'm happy to share that. I'm happy to share that with anybody.
Yeah, but I think, Haven, I think this is a great, with your idea to go back to the club, and they've even like researched something like Keeperstop and saying, hey, let's get these goalkeepers gloves, and you know, they'll do a bulk order and stuff. I mean, squeaky wheel gets the oil, right? So like, make it happen over there in Eastern Pennsylvania, Central Pennsylvania, South Central. Right?
Absolutely. And just to let you know, Haven, we will be partnering with Keeperstop with the union goalkeeping, and we got some really cool promotions and discounts and events coming up exclusive for Keeperstop purchasers. And maybe we can do some sort of thing with your club as well too. We can definitely look into that. I will say this though, I think that one of the things they could potentially do is offset some of the cost of the dues, because of the fact that goalkeepers have to purchase, whether it's training, whether it's equipment outside of the
Absolutely.
club, that the outfield players don't. So why are you paying the same amount as, the outfield player, who's getting everything provided for?
And then on top of it, having to buy extra equipment.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Let's talk about equipment, Christian, because we've obviously been talking about gloves and everything. One of the biggest things that comes up during the holiday time is protective gear. And obviously, depending on what environment you play in, is going to determine what type of protection you need. But what are the kind of the essentials for a young foundational goalkeeper?
So the next thing I would go for a purchase would be a goalkeeper jersey. I just have a Joma Zamora kit here as nice and vibrant so you guys can see it. But they have matching short shirt and socks. So something like this goes very well because it's unique. It helps you have some of that individuality, if the team is not supplying it. So matching shirt, short, and sock in that, or just a general jersey. I mean, that's important. After that, between jersey and gloves, I go protection all the way. Now, most of us play on turf, and turf is nasty stuff. People spit, snot, bleed on turf. It's a nightmare waiting to happen. So I suggest to goalkeepers find a manufacturer. We believe a lot in Sterelli, so we do our undergarments, whether it be a short or a full length pant. We do Sterelli. I wear this. This is what I look like when I play. So I'll do this under such a kit, do it underneath. So I'm protecting myself, my hips, but I'm also separating my skin away from the abrasions. And if you come out low and hard on a breakaway, you fillet yourself on turf. I wouldn't want any skin exposed. So we do Sterelli shorts or pants as my third must-have. Another one I use a lot is the 3/4 goalkeeper shirt, undershirt. Stuff is not inexpensive, but well worth it. I've had mine for years. Thank you, Claudio Sterelli, because he gave it to me, and I still use it in my old man leagues. So this is the Sterelli. I'm fumbling through the shirt here, but this is the goalkeeper 3/4 undershirt with padding on the chest and on the arms. And I feel a bit invincible when I have this stuff on. Through ball, I'm coming out low and hard. Granted, that's technique and training, what have you, but proper equipment definitely helps me as well from a confidence standpoint. Like I know that I'm not going to leave half my elbow on the ground on, well-worn turf, or I feel like if I'm going to get on the pants, they have a cup area and they have like a shin guard area. I know that if somebody comes out and tries to take a swipe at me, I'm protected with good technique and good equipment.
I love what you just said right there. And, Saskia, obviously here in Southern California, one of the biggest issues that we get is that a lot of young goalkeepers, because the weather is so constant, they show up in shorts and a t-shirt, shorts and a t-shirt, shorts and a t-shirt all the time. And
not just shorts, but shorts that are rolled twice at the top, like shorts. And like they might have been wearing like volleyball gear. And it boggles my mind. And listen, I think there's certain things that come with this as well. The types of field you're training on, comfortability. Like, I'm not a gear person. Like for me, like padding and stuff is just not me. I was nice and light and everything like that. Now, granted, I was playing on professional fields and everything like that, so that's a different situation. But it just wasn't me, and and so I wasn't. But other people are, and it does give them confidence. And I think, and fields are, even grass fields are just so unpredictable out here as well. You can show up to a game in a grass field, and it's just a nightmare. And so I think that, it comes down to the individual, but, I totally agree with you that knowing that you have the right equipment from head to toe on, that it gives you that confidence. It gives you that extra boost.
And Christian, I love part of a ritual, right? You put it on,
yeah.
You put it on a certain order, you put your pants on, it's like you're almost
like
strapping
Batman
on your suit of armor, right?
Yeah.
And and again, to your point, it doesn't have to be Sterelli. Sterelli does have turper leggings with no padding. As long as you find something that fits you. I know plenty of goalkeepers that just train in a long sleeve cotton shirt, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's just as long as you find what works for you.
Yeah.
And I love what you said, in regards to that, like Christian, in regards to like the longevity of the stuff, because I think, one of the difficult things, especially when we're talking about the holiday season, is parents being like, oh, but didn't I just get you this, last year or whatever? Why do you need another one, type of a thing? So it's like, it's better to like buy, quality over quantity type of a thing, right? So if you're going to get some solid protective gear, and let's say, obviously, the kid's not growing, let's say he's 16, 17 already, it's going to last them a while, hopefully till they get to college.
Yeah, of course.
Well,
I mean, I think that equipment in general, you grow out of it, or you grow into something else, meaning, Saskia, you go from needing hip padding when you're learning to dive
Right.
or learning the extension to, you know what, now I'm 16, 17. I don't want padding in a game environment. I only want shorts. I think
Exactly.
that
Yeah.
having a full portfolio of goalkeeper gloves and equipment as a developing goalkeeper through your life cycle is very important, because different gloves, you have a practice pair of gloves, you have a game pair of gloves traditionally. You have training equipment such as Steroli with padding and maybe Steroli turf burn legging for not. You have a full kit with matching short shirt and socks for your game, but you may have a Steroli goalkeeper jersey with like high density foam on your elbows for training. Whatever works for you and whatever keeps you protected and performing your best.
Yeah, and I also think that to have those things available. So, you can show up to a tournament, you can show up to a game, and like I said, the field could be unpredictable. And let's say you have been training and used to, you've aged out of, certain things, and you're fine training at your home facility in, long sleeve jersey and shorts, and you get somewhere where you're like, like I wish I had, my turfs, or I wish I had something, and you don't. And then it's in your head. so it's, you got to have your little bag, your bag of goodies to make you just to make you focus.
I always try to keep options with me in my bag whenever I go train, or go play in men's league and everything like that. Because obviously, Christian, as we know, playing men's league, adult league, is that you never know what you're going to deal with. You might show up and they're like, it's just completely dirt because like the youth game is taking up the other field, and they're just like, we'll just throw the old people over there. It's not going to matter or whatever. And there's like glass on the field, and I'm like, well, this is not. I don't know about this one right here. I actually have shown up on a field before and there's been glass on there. So that's a whole other story. That's a whole other podcast.
I trained on Dirt Pro in Japan. Our pro field in Japan was there. We used to rake it to break up the dirt. Yeah, because like when the dew would settle and then the sun would come out, it would harden. And so like we had these huge steel like rakes, and I'd put one of my like Japanese smaller teammates on the end of the rake, and we'd pull it across the front of the goal mouth and break up the dirt so it was soft.
Oh wow. My gosh, that's amazing. By the way, Christian, when you were saying MSRP, all I could think of was like those like, end of the year car like commercials on like, because I'm like, what does MSRP mean? What I still don't know.
Manufacturer suggested retail price.
Oh, okay,
so
gotcha.
All of us distributors in the US, say Adidas or Nike or Puma dealers, Reusch, Uhlsport, you have what's called MAP pricing. MAP pricing meaning you have to fall within a certain range, like 100 being high, 90 being the lowest. So MSRP is what the manufacturer suggests to charge, so we don't ruin the brand by lowballing. Because truthfully, right now, you could throw a dart and hit 5 goalkeeper glove companies and and distributors on Amazon and other marketplaces. They could be fake. And it's a race to the bottom right now. It's a race to low quality. It's a race to low price. So we carry the best goalkeeper glove brands and equipment brands, so that we represent the goalkeeper, but also with that we have to stay within a certain pricing to keep competitive and not undermine anybody else's activities.
Man, I'm learning a lot today. This is like a whole education in equipment, not just in like the equipment itself, but in like the sales of equipment. I want to bring this up, Christian, because obviously we've been talking about protective gear and we've been talking about, gloves and jerseys and everything like that. What are some of the other essentials for youth goalkeepers out there? Is there anything else? I mean, I know you had brought up glove glue and everything. Is that an essential? Something, or maybe not.
Nice.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Okay. Well, I was going to say, I didn't want to say specifically the brand glove glue, because I'm not sure what your sponsorship is or whatever, but that type of that type of a thing, because I know there's a lot of kids out there who spray something on the second they get to the field.
Yeah, no, the essentials in goalkeeping: gloves, your jersey, and your training equipment. Those are the top three. Then you go to a ball. I mean, we brought out Response Ball 2. We use the Response Ball as a training ball, as a concentration tool. It's in a few MLS clubs right now being trained, actually with the first team, used in the EPL. So we launched Response Ball 2.0 as well as just a regular ball, a high quality training ball, because I mean that's what defines you as a goalkeeper, right? Is your ability to control your body as well as the ball. So a good bag of balls is equally as important as any of them to work in goal kicks, work in handling, throw a ball against the wall, have a toss with a partner, your mom or dad or your whomever that's in your household. So the ball would be the second one. The rest of the stuff, I mean, the Munion rebounders, we saw a lot of them. They're great. They're backyard training tools where you can throw it against, and the ball rebounds back to you. You can work on distribution. You can work on handling. But those are nice. Those are nice to have.
Yeah, those are like if you've already bought the equipment for your player, and you're still looking for something else for the holidays to purchase them. I want to bring up the thing, Saskia, what the Christian just brought up about balls. I can't tell you how many young goalkeepers don't have a bag of balls. Like they're like, oh yeah, no, I don't have, like I have a ball at home or something like that.
That's flat.
That's flat, exactly.
Yeah, and parents out there, honestly, you got to get your kid a quality ball, and a bag of balls if possible, because when you're coaching camps and the kids let's say, I love camps that give every camper a ball, because then that you're going to have a certain amount of quality ball. If you leave it up to the kids to bring their balls to camp, 90% of them won't, because the parents don't want to bring them to camp because they don't want the kid to lose a ball. And then the other balls that they do bring are the wrong size. They're like the worst balls possibly out there, and they're flat. so it's soccer. You need a ball, and you need a quality ball to play it. And I think it's and I would tell you, first and foremost, even as a goalkeeper, get a ball. Okay? Because get a ball, then get your gloves, because you need a ball to play the sport, and you need a good one. And it just boggles my mind, the quality that's out there. And listen, this is a budget issue too, but at the same time, there are good enough balls in different budget ranges for training. There absolutely are.
That's a great point, Saskia. Christian, you don't need a match ball, right? Like what type of ball do you need that's gonna last you for a while if you're a young goalkeeper?
Something consistent, something that it meets your family budget, but you feel like you have the same contact or touch points every time that you touch it, that you feel it. So you got to be the one that feels comfortable with it. I mean, that's why we brought out Response Ball. I mean, this thing wobbles and turns, concentration tool, but we also brought out a $60 high-end training ball that would match anybody's $70, $80 game ball, because they're made in the same factories, and mine just happens to be cheaper. And so that's why we brought it out, because there were so many goalkeeper coaches like, hey, get us a ball. And I'm like, oh, A, it's not available, or the ball that I brought out from Response Ball is less money. It has the same flight, better manufacturing standards, better labor standards for manufacturing the ball. And these are all the things that I had to figure out, bringing a ball in and having it manufactured. So that's why we cultivated the Response Ball brand. We bought it from somebody in Europe. This training ball, the concentration ball, that's used in half of the EPL at the moment. And then now we brought it to the MLS. But the actual true ball, that's what it's there for. So you can buy a couple and be at below $100.
I love that, man. I mean, I think another thing too, when we're talking about like size of ball, Saskia, I can't tell you how many times I can't tell you how many times like an 8-year-old will show up with like a size 5 ball, and it's like, well, that's what I have at home. It's like my brother has or my older sister has a ball, and they brought that ball or whatever. Like Christian, like, should a young goalkeeper have a size 4 ball? Like, and should they only have size 4 balls, or should they train with size 5 balls too?
Train with balls that are age appropriate. right?
Mhm.
People say that, oh well, it helps her hands, get used to the bigger ball or whatever. I mean, again, tenets of goalkeeping: control your body, control the ball. So stick within the age requirements, whatever ball is specified by that age group, and have a bag of them so that you can work on distribution, you can work on handling on your own or with a partner, and those balls should be free of dog teeth holes and hold air through the entire session. I mean, the balls that I manufacture are not terribly inexpensive, but like at $60, it's a high end training or match ball that you could bring to any field. I just didn't spend the money on FIFA certification that, no offense, cost tens of thousands of dollars when, a goalkeeper coach will buy 50 of them because they want a great ball that meets a certain budget, but also has a certain playing profile.
Yeah, I mean, and by the way, Saskia, one of the things I also get too a lot of the times is like kids will show up, I've got balls, and they go, "Oh, I only train with my ball. I only train with my ball." So that they're not used to using anything but their own ball. And then obviously, I mean, the demands of the game, you're gonna have all sorts of different types of balls, constantly. I want to pivot a little bit here, Christian, because I want to talk about like trends. What are some of the trends that you're seeing, this holiday season?
The trends that I saw this and last holiday season are to the training aids. So we developed the Keeperstop rebounder, which is clear and see through. So last holiday season, we had goalkeepers buying it for their goalkeeper coaches, so you could see through it to help work on heading and crossing, because goalkeepers have to punch the ball in crossing sessions. That's why we came out with the response ball. The Munin P10 as an example, which is the rebounder that they can throw in the backyard, was wildly successful because they're always looking for ways to keep their child active. So what does it replace, right? It replaces a garage door that costs infinitely more money that you kick a ball against, so, $300 P10 is less money than your garage door.
Is this oh no, this is the ball shooting machine. That's
That's
not
the other one I was
rebounder.
just going to mention. We sold a couple of those
Okay.
last year. The Globus ball shooter, very expensive, but say that you're a aspiring college goalkeeper and that wants to work on certain aspects of your game, season or yearly, at your field or in your backyard. I mean, I have one of them that I create content with, and it's always a favorite that comes out, and I'm working on in-swinger crosses with strikers and goalkeepers. On a dime, you can put that ball, and yeah, of course, you want field players taking those, but if you want accuracy and consistency, and say that I'm not a goalkeeper coach, and I can serve a few balls, but when I'm serving 50 balls, my leg will fall off.
Mhm.
This puts it on a dime, backspin, top spin, in swinger, out swinger. So we actually sold a few of those during the holiday season last year for those goalkeepers that do want to play in college, that are vying for that scholarship, because a $7,000 or $8,000 machine, wildly expensive. I know that. That could be the difference between 20 to 40 to $50,000 savings every year, because you're looking for that scholarship that may or may not be available. But one of the other slides I did send you is the goalkeeper equipment one, and you'll see some of that equipment there. And that's what I'm seeing is like what can help elevate me, such as the synaptop glasses, which are on that picture as well. Synaptop glasses are a visual training aid. They help increase your decision making and quickness because it's stroboscopic training. So where one will maybe, where one may be blocked for a nanosecond, the other one you can see. So your body processing that information changes. Super fun. Ton of science. I mean, we've actually sold these to New York Rangers, or professional hockey players will say, NFL wide receivers, fencers, tennis players, as well as numerous goalkeepers, so that your mom or dad or your training partner, whomever, can throw you a tennis ball in your backyard and be like, "Whoa, what this thing coming at me?" It just helps you process information. The ability to control your body and the ball truly is predicated on how you process information, right? Through whatever technique that you're trying to utilize at that moment. So
You know, it's funny, Christian, how you bring that up. And first off, you know, like I know some people saw that price tag. I saw the price tag of the machine, and I was like, yeah, I don't know if that's something that's a foundational goalkeeper's
It is not.
purchase right over there. But maybe if you're maybe that's something that you discuss with, you know, your club, Saskia, and say, hey, you know what, this might be an investment for the club to make for the goalkeeping department here to have this available, which could be great. You know, Saskia, obviously, you know, we talked about this when we were at convention last year in regards to like one of the trends that you were talking about is like everything's tech related. Everything is somehow tech related when it comes to goalkeeping now, to assist the goalkeeper. You know, Christian, I know artificial intelligence is something that's been a lot talked about.
I said that.
Well, yeah, you did. You said everything's tech. You came out of the soccer expo area or whatever. And
Oh,
like, everything's tech.
Okay.
You're like, I don't know. Everything's tech. Everything's AI. But I'm noticing a trend of AI. Is that something that you're noticing? And on the software tip, are there any softwares that you recommend for young goalkeepers? Oh, Christian, you there?
Oh, sorry. I thought that was to Saskia.
Oh, no, definitely wasn't to me.
No.
Definitely not to Saskia. You know, we're lucky she was able to connect her internet. So.
Danger. Cannot compute. So, no. So honestly, the best software you could still use is your brain, right?
Yeah.
So I'm always going to go back with the foundational exercises that you can do on your own bare minimum to partner training. I mean, that's first and foremost. You know, if you need the differentiators, there are, you know, a number of training apps now. You know, there's actually a few websites that I'm not involved with. I don't get anything from. Obviously, you know, you can utilize the union, you know, as one, right, is an exceptional training resource with a vast goalkeeper coaches you have on there. And there's a variety of other ones that you can reference. So, you know,
so the Venmo did go through, Christian. Good.
Yeah,
glad.
right.
Glad that, glad that Venmo went right
It's
through.
true, though, right? Saskia, all of us had to, like, we made it up on the spot a lot of times when we were
Oh, my
younger. What are we
gosh.
going to do? Now you type in on YouTube, that's Keeperstop reaches 10 to 15 million goalkeepers on a monthly basis, or goalkeeper enthusiasts, and a lot of that is training content. It's, you know, the difference between shot stopping and the smother save. It's how to take a goal kick. It's how to get recruited. So the amount of information that's out there is amazing. And so Keeperstop on YouTube or TikTok or Instagram, there's a bunch of information out there. I mean, you have that's with the Incisive out of Europe that does a lot of the analytics that's connected. They use the Oculus and other ones where it's VR headsets and you can work on your reactions. I mean, that boggles my mind. I'm totally intrigued, and I'm actually borrowing an Oculus so I can.
I'm intrigued too. It's just funny. Again, just knowing what we didn't have, and all these things all these things, tools that you have to become such a solid and good goalkeeper. Part of me is just like, I think we did kind of all right though, Chris, like using our heads and figuring it out. But you know, the world, the world moves forward, and it is interesting, all the stuff that's out there. It's great because there would be plenty of times that I would want to go train and I just had to kind of make it up and figure it out myself from other stuff I did, and go find a tennis wall and like work on stuff against the flat tennis wall and everything. And now to know, like, you have rebounders, you have, jugs machines, you have all these things. It's amazing.
I will say this. Go ahead, Christian.
I was just going to say that it's just we've evolved, but we're still at the same point, right? It's have we become any quicker? Have our goalkeepers become any better in the U.S. as an example? Foundationally, we got to get back to the basics, grassroots. We got to get back to having a bag of balls, kicking against the wall, throwing a tennis ball. I would throw a tennis ball against the wall. I would memorize words on a wall. So I work on ocular training so that my eyes would be faster and better, and I could help concentration. What we have to get back to is responsibility of ourselves, right? Are you a 98%er? Are you a 2%, or the 98% of the people show up on time? And this is the Dan Gaspar Star Goalkeeper Academy mantra. Do you show up on time? Do you look the part? Do you play the part? Or are you the 2% that really goes above and beyond? And
Yeah.
the above and beyond has to be foundationally the extra work that's needed. You want to work on footwork, you throw out some cones and you shuffle. If you need and you have the money, you have the resources, and you truly are vying for that scholarship or a roster spot, let's even say that as a high level Division I coach, Saskia, you know that scholarships are few and far between. Roster spots are, maybe slightly more available. And if you have to do your, extra work to get there, you do it. If it takes the incisive, Oculus headset, if it takes, more goalkeeper union, subscriptions and digesting that content, you do it, right? And you pick the educational path and the equipment path that fits your budget and your playing level.
What I was going to say, beforehand, Christian and Saskia, is that I think that one thing that we really need to focus on, and I want all the parents to hear this during the holiday season, is that the number one thing seems to be that both of you have been talking about ownership, and Saskia, that goalkeepers need to take their ownership, whether it's their equipment, whether it's their training, whether it's their education.
Clean their gloves.
Great. Yeah. But everything. And so, it's nice for parents to watch this and everything like that. But any young goalkeeper out there, you need to educate yourself, and then you need to share this information. You can't just wait for your parents to hand you something under the stocking and be like, oh, great, cool, my parents are doing this all for me. I'm just going to let them keep digesting this content and figuring it out, and then I'll just follow along.
Well, yeah, I mean, it goes back across the board. Why do you want those pair of gloves? Why do you want, the response ball? Why do you want this certain equipment that goes under your clothes? Is it because De Gea was wearing it, or is it serve a purpose? And if you educate yourself on why you need things, if you take care of your equipment, it's also ritualistic. It's also respect for the equipment. I know that sounds weird. I always clean my gloves. I clean my cleats as well. Like I had my back in the day with my kangaroo leather, and now you'll get, got my mink oil out and everything. And I clean my cleats, but it's a focus thing as well. And those things are important. That's 2%. It's absolutely. Pride. I don't believe in just showing up and looking the part and hoping somebody else guides me on my way.
Mm-hmm. And I love what you just said right there. If you're a young goalkeeper out there listening, and there's something you really want, for the holidays, and you approach your parents, give them context on why this is something that would be useful for you, as opposed to like, man, these cleats are really cool. It's like, all right, well,
yeah.
You might end up with something that you didn't want, because you just said those cleats look cool, and they're like, well, he doesn't really need those, or she doesn't really need those, but they served a purpose. I want to talk about, kind of like, wait, Kristen, do you have something right there you wanted to show real quick?
No, I'm just getting ready for the 2023 holiday features. If you really look to my left, there's a mound of gloves that just keep getting higher and higher.
Oh, we can't see it from here. You're gonna have to turn the camera.
Let's see.
Other side.
We gotta see.
Do it. The 2023 holiday features.
Oh my God!
Nice.
When we're ready, I want to keep a line with Michael's questioning. So.
All right, let's start wrapping this up. And Christian, we appreciate you taking the time. Obviously, this is literally, we always joke with everybody who comes on the show. This is a really busy time of year for you. This is literally the busiest time of year for you. Like, you're getting ready for Black Friday, Cyber Monday, all that sort of stuff. So we really appreciate you taking the time. Any kind of final advice for parents out there who are purchasing goalkeeper equipment for the first time?
Yeah, I mean, the final advice that I would say is, again, utilize your resources, your goalkeeper coaches, the soccer mom, soccer dads, people in your goalkeeping community. But we're here. Keeperstop is here for you to help you select the best glove or equipment that meets your budget and playing need. That's what we're here for. That's what separates us from everybody else. This is why we've developed and built this goalkeeper community that we help influence and share a part of the experience. Like right now, as an example, we have goalkeepers, signing for the respective colleges that I've been with Keeper since that they were 9 or 10 years old, that are signing for top level Division I schools or MLS Next program, and they're like, "Thank you. You're a part of it. You were actually a part of the process. You were a part of the whole planning, and we appreciate. That's why we're here. Maybe I'm not training them on a daily basis, but we're a part of it because we're like, this is what you need to reach your goals. This is what we need that fits your budget. This is what you need that's going to keep you healthy and performing your best."
Yeah. Susk, anything you want to add to that?
Nope.
Okay. You're like, nope, short and sweet on that.
One thing I would like to share, Michael, is just like to your point, for 2023, we have some sales going on right now. So we beat up some manufacturers. So Royce has given us the ability to offer a 50% discount on certain models. So this one we have is the Attract Duo Evolution cut 50% off for our goalkeeper that was looking for one glove. We worked with One Glove to put together a game and practice model, because I just hate offering arbitrary discounts, because again, I got to pay somebody something on the other side of it. So we try to provide a little bit more value. So we have a game glove as well as a practice option for around $100. So
I love that. I love that to have them combined. And so you're like, here's your game, here's your practice. You get 2 gloves for under $100, and you know what they're for, and that is awesome.
I mean, that's one of those head exploding.
I'm like, Haven, back in central Pennsylvania, call right now, because there's a good deal for you. Yeah. He's got practice and game under $100. You get both gloves. Look at us. Now I feel like I'm on QVC. Yeah.
Black Friday is the Royce. This is Cyber Monday, but we also have a 10% off coupon code throughout. But it's again because we just want to provide value and help people save a little bit of money. Some stocking stuffers, because again, maybe you don't have the budget. You can go with cedar chips to help them smell well between training sessions, so they don't smell like dirty socks. To your point, the glove wash. Maybe you don't need the glove glue all the time. Maybe when the glove starts to break down, but you do need to clean your gloves, and glove glue is giving us a colossal deal as well. So, hell, you could buy Keeperstop coupon or gift cards for your goalkeepers to support a small business, but also give to your goalkeeper so they can select whatever they want, or any of the items that we spoke about today.
Nice.
I love it. I love it. I do feel like we're on QVC right now. We got the scroller going on the bottom of the screen right there. We got the images showing up right here.
You got the clock counting down.
Buy now for this limited time. You could also get
10.
We've sold 50.
And for the holiday season,
Saskia from California. Thank you.
And my favorite thing is like they'll always be like they're like Saskia Weber, like World Cup champion Saskia Weber, and just introducing her new line of blah blah blah. It just shows up.
I would be happy to be Lori Grenier. Are you kidding me? I'm like, oh my gosh, forget it.
Oh my gosh. All right. Well, obviously we've entered plug time. So like I was talking about earlier. I love it earlier. For those of you guys who are unfamiliar, there is a platform called the Union Goalkeeping Community. It's an app available on Google Play and Apple stores, and on a desktop version as well too. We have a basic and a premium. You really want to go with the premium, $4.99 a month or $49.99 a year. That's where honestly all the really cool stuff happens. The basic is an engagement forum, which is great, and you can engage and connect with other goalkeepers out there. But the real fun comes in Union Premium, and we're going to be doing some stuff with Keeperstop there as well. But one of the things that I really, really love, and we were talking about it, Christian, in regards to value during this time and taking ownership, is young goalkeepers out there connecting and utilizing resources. And one of the things that I really, really absolutely love about this platform, and we've discussed it as well, is the Pro Mentors and the office hour scheduler system. I'm a massive proponent for this. Whether it's a young goalkeeper that's connecting with a Division I goalkeeper such as Owen Cornell, or working with a professional coach like a Sergio Gonzalez at NWSL Racing Louisville, or a '99 World Cup winner like Saskia Weber. it's just a really, really massive to be able to learn and engage from other people. And a lot of people say, hey, what do I bring up during office hours? But that also comes, Christian, right, with ownership. Like if you're scheduling a training session with your goalkeeper coach, you don't just show up and just expect them to do something for you. You give them some sort of direction that you want to go with your training, right? So it's the same thing in the virtual world.
If I could put it in context briefly, is like how many high school goalkeepers you see walking around with their Starbucks, Frappuccino or Dunkin' Donuts that cost $5, to accelerate or elevate their goalkeeping experience. The Union platform definitely allows you to have access to high-level goalkeeper coaches. I mean, I've listened to some of these podcasts, and it blows my mind. And this is somebody who's been doing it for a long time. You learn something new every time. Maybe it's a coaching point. Maybe it's a different way to do a drill or to deliver a message. And for $4.99, the cost of your Dunkaccino or Frappuccino that you're throwing away, you have access to a plethora of goalkeeper content. To me, is truly amazing. And again, you didn't ask me to do that. This is what I did.
No, I'm like, but can we just run that? Can we run that as a commercial now?
I mean,
that was awesome. Thanks, Chris, but it's true.
No, but I mean, I think one of the really cool things about that, is that first off is that it's not just passive content out there, because I think nowadays it's really all about engagement, Saskia. And I know you did an office hours last week with a young parent of some young goalkeepers, and so everybody out there can benefit from mentoring, and getting advice, and getting feedback on videos or college recruiting or nutrition or whatever it is that they want to focus on during their office time.
Yeah, there's a mentor there for it, and. Yeah. I love the analogy of your Frappuccino or whatever it is you're walking around with, your latte. You could have take one latte out of the week because you probably buy one every day, and you could, be sitting on a call with, with coaches that we're totally are inaccessible anywhere else, to be honest with you. And and not to toot anybody's own horn, but you can get office hours next week, and we can have a 1 hour meeting, and we can go over video and talk about what's going on. Or that wasn't my meeting. My meeting is obviously private, but what it was about. But yeah, I had a meeting with goalkeeper's parent and had a great conversation, and really just hammered some stuff out that they had questions about.
And last thing, and I know this is feeling a little infomercially here, but I really am passionate about this, Christian, in regards to the fact about goalkeeper parents community. We have a private goalkeeper parents community that's only available to goalkeeper parents. If you're a coach, you are not allowed to join because we want that to be a safe space where goalkeeper parents feel comfortable. We have special events just for them. I know this is something that you've been really big about in regards to goalkeeper parent education. Why is that something that's so passionate to you?
So for me, goalkeeping, you're on an island, right? In order to truly develop as a goalkeeper, it's like we're social creatures. We need a positive feedback loop. We need mentors that are going to help our game. And for, traditionally that's the parent is the front line of that. They're the first ones that they see after a game to help deal with the trials and tribulations of a game, the highs and lows. So I think it's important for parents to understand of how to help their goalkeepers cope with the pressures of goalkeeping. We're not asking to solve goalkeeper problems, but we can help advise, or within a safe space, they can help each other solve that problems. Like, how do I help my son or daughter, whomever, how do I help them recover from a bad game? Or what do you do, to help your son or daughter, recover from a game? What conversations do you bring up outside of goalkeeping to get their mind off of it? What do you do after a game? Do you take them for ice cream? Do you have their favorite dinner and you don't talk about it, whatever it is? I just think that parents feel like they need to solve problems for goalkeepers when we don't give them the right tools to solve life problems. And maybe in that safe environment, they can help each other solve it through trial and error. This is what works with my daughter. Don't pressure her, because don't talk about the bad ball should play out of the back right away. Give it a couple of days. Let her come to you. Parents need that safe space, but they also need they need coaches to help them as well in different spaces and on how to deal with those problems.
Mhm.
Yeah, and I think, as we kind of
Yeah,
start
and this
wrapping
isn't
this
just, and so
Go ahead.
parents out there that haven't signed up yet, this isn't something like when we did our first town hall where it was just like a bunch of we had certain experts in there to help navigate and help give you the tools. It was a mental health episode, town hall, and it was to give you the tools, different options of tools that you can use to help with situations. It wasn't just about, it wasn't just all of us talking like
Yeah,
Caitlin,
it wasn't just 20 parents showed up on 20 parents showed up on a Zoom, and it's like, what do I do?
And we're just bitching or something. No, it wasn't. It wasn't
You know how they do those breakout rooms, Christian, sometimes on a Zoom call, and it's like all of a sudden you'll get thrown in a breakout room, and it's there's like 4 random people in there, and you're like, hi. They're like, hey. They're like, this is a networking event. I'm like, okay, hello.
Yeah, no, there were experts there. So
I want parents, if they take one thing away from this conversation, is like they can utilize Christian from Keeperstop as a reference. Michael, Saskia, you were a reference, and I know that if somebody truly needed you, you would answer a question or be there for them, and that's what's most important, because sometimes I didn't have that support as a developing goalkeeper as a youth. That's why I go above and beyond. I know that's why you guys are involved in this, so that you're giving back to the goalkeeper community, providing them with resources that they wouldn't have. Because unfortunately, it is what it is. Goalkeeping is an afterthought, definitely in the US. It's the last to receive specialized training or more current modern training. They're the last to get the equipment. They're traditionally the last to get feedback. And if it is feedback, it's negative.
yeah.
Yep. Well, Christian, honestly, man, this has been
Christian.
awesome. Yeah, this has been really great. Obviously, a lot of cool stuff going on with Keeperstop. I believe you're starting to put some stuff that we're going to be migrating some stuff from Keeperstop, some select equipment into the Union store in the next few days. And I know that we're going to be doing some different promotions and events, and those will be, kind of mentioned very soon, probably after Cyber Monday. We'll let you get through all of this craziness first, and then we'll get at it. I do want to throw up a real quick shout out to Richmond Goalkeeping Academy. We're heading out to Richmond Goalkeeping Academy on December 15th, I believe it is. We're going to be helping out with the charity out there. I'm also going to be hosting the Keeper Wars tournament, and we'll be doing some live shows. So shout out to Amanda and everybody at Richmond Goalkeeping Academy. I'm looking forward to going to Richmond, Virginia. I haven't been there in a few years. And also, there is the United Soccer Coaches Convention going on in January in Anaheim. Saskia and I will be there for that. There's a Keeper Wars tournament going on there too for adults. So maybe Christian can participate in that and showcase his adult league skills in that Keeper Wars tournament. If you want to know more about that, you can reach out to United Soccer Coaches themselves. Obviously, guest suggestion, topic suggestion, contact at inside18media.com or at Goalkeeper Podcast on the Union. Christian, I believe it's at Keeperstop on the Union is the handle?
At Keeperstop. I'm available on the Inside the 18, the Union, however you want to contact me. Any of the social media platforms, give us a follow, send us a direct message. I'll get to what I can. But I actually did put a coupon code active for your community only. It is capital UGK 23, and it saves an additional 10% off of non-sale items, excluding Globus and those big things. But it's already active for Union members. So enjoy. Contact us with any questions. We're happy to help.
That's awesome. We'll make sure to put that in the show notes. Obviously, you can reach out to Saskia at Saskia on the Union platform, or me at Goalkeeper Podcast on the Union. That is all the time on Inside the 18. Have a happy. Oh no, we already said happy Thanksgiving because this is releasing in the future. So
Bye,
hopefully you enjoyed your Thanksgiving. Happy holidays, everybody. We're out. Later.